Alright, folks, it's a dark and spooky morning. Doing my daily commute, my hour-long journey through the dark and mysterious hillsides of the suburban Atlanta suburbs. And got a lot of ample time here, might as well use it to be constructive and creative. And I give you an overview of a really surprisingly, and not just good, but very, very good, teetering on legitimately great movies that came out. And oddly enough, it's from M. Night Shyamalan. Now, here's the thing about M. Night. I think The Sixth Sense, all in all, is kind of an overrated movie. I mean, it was good for what it was at the time, and I'll give them credit for trying to do something different when horror was just really, really dead and completely off the radar. And I mean, it was inventive, and I guess it's okay, but I mean, in hindsight, after repeated viewings, 15 years down the line, I don't think it really holds up anywhere near as well. I think it kind of succeeded off the strength of its twist ending. And of course, it kind of pigeonholed M. Night, unfortunately, because from then on out, his entire career became like, okay, what's going to be the big twist? What's the shock? He's the guy that always makes the surprise ending. And that's really hurt him. Because instead of making, legitimately great movies, he's got to make these really gimmicky sort of movies. And if you look at the trajectory of M. Night's career, I mean, it's been pretty much started really, really high with The Sixth Sense. I don't know if you kids know this, actually, he admitted himself that's a ripoff of an old Are You Afraid of the Dark episode, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. And he followed it up with Unbreakable, and I still think Unbreakable is his best movie. It's really one of the best superhero movies nobody ever talks about. And then from there on out, you started to kind of see his career take a nosedive. You saw The Village. No, wait, The Signs came out first, and that was pretty disappointing. And then with aliens being killed by water and Joaquin Phoenix and Mel Gibson running around talking about bacon, just not a really interesting film. From that, you had The Village, which I thought was just boring beyond words. And then you saw his career really, really start going downhill. You saw Lady in the Water and The Happening, and then eventually bottomed out with Avatar, or The Last Airbender, whatever you want to call it. So from there, he's really been sort of trying to dig his way out. He's pretty much fallen to the nadir to the point where M. Night Shyamalan kind of had the same reputation that Stephen King had in the early to mid 80s. There are just so many terrible adaptations that, you really want to put his name on the poster anymore. Well, with his latest movie, The Visitor, I gotta say, I was really pleasantly surprised, because this is not just the best movie that M. Night Shyamalan has made in, 15 years. This might just be his second best movie. This, I would say, in my opinion, better than The Sixth Sense, but what do I know? I think it's probably, at least, as good as that one. Not as good as Unbreakable, but still really, really entertaining. So what makes this movie work is it does so many things that are structurally similar to what we see in genre films, but at the same time it also does them in a very inventive way. It kind of takes some chances here. And one of the things that I really, really liked about the movie was that it used a pretty standard trick for films to kind of build, de facto drama. The protagonists are a bunch of kids. They're like, I don't know, there's like one in high school, one in middle school. So, they're powerless. They're naive. They don't know how the world works. Physically, they can get overpowered by anybody. They're sitting ducks. So automatically you kind of have that tension built in. Now, a lot of times that's kind of a cheap scare tactic, but I think this time around it really does work. I think it gives it a very unique sort of feeling. And the thing is, these kids are actually pretty, well versed. They're really aware of the world. They're very cultural savvy. They're nuanced. I mean, they're not just your stock dumb free willy kids that only exist inside the mind of 30-year-old pervy screenwriters. They actually have some nuance to them, and they're very interesting characters from there. Because I think most films alike, when you look at horror films, they're just based on teens or young adults who are pretty much interchangeable, who are one stock, not really dimensional whatsoever. But this time around, they're actually kind of intricate. There's some depth to them. They all have some psychological baggage they're working out, so that's pretty cool. So basically, the premise of the film, very simple. Mom left her parents because she was pregnant. and she hasn't seen them in like 15 years. And they found her on Facebook, and now she's sending her kids off to go see them because they've never seen them before, and she feels guilty. Well, she's out on a cruise or something. So she sends them off, and right off the bat, you can tell Grandma and Grandpa are weird. Like, they're doing some really, really out there stuff. And while this film kind of falls into the found footage category, which, I think, fluctuates with them, it's really great, like Cannibal Holocaust, most of the time it isn't. I think it's actually done very, very well here. This is one of the better found footage flicks of the like. Certainly one of the best horror genre found footage movies to come out in a while. And but there's just so much character development. I love the fact that everything kind of builds up, but there's also a lot of humor. This is like one of the best balanced horror comedies I've seen in a long time, because the parts that are horror are actually really spooky, and the parts that are comedic are actually really funny, which is kind of weird. You don't really usually see horror comedies that are actually both, that can combine both elements as well as this film does. And there's actually like a really, really great plot device in here I think is absolutely brilliant. There's this kid who is trying to stop from swearing. So what he does is he substitutes curse words in the name of like famous pop singers. Which, it sounds dumb, but when it's implemented in the movie, it's actually really funny. But yeah, anyway, it pretty much follows your general horror movie plot, where Monday you kind of get that inkling that things are weird, and by Wednesday things ain't right. And it's really, I don't want to give away, because I really tell you any of the freaky stuff that goes on, that kind of, gives away the entire movie. But I'll say this, it is an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and there is an M. Night Shyamalan twist. But it's the best M. Night Shyamalan twist ever, because the entire time you watch this movie, you're just expecting some like crazy, out of left field, like supernatural explanation. Like, oh, I don't know, maybe like Grandma's a werewolf, or they're reverse vampires. They're being mind controlled by, alien parasites in a well. Because you get all these red herrings in certain parts of the movie. But anyway, once you finally actually do get the big reveal, the big twist, it's so rudimentary, but it's so much better. Like, it's the most basic, twist you could think of, and it's so satisfactory. It's completely better than any crazy nonsense you could have thought of, and it just makes it so effective. Like, the audience just loved it. And the last act of this movie, really, really good. One of the best denouement, Jamie Lee Curtis being chased by Michael Myers finishes that I've seen in quite a while. So overall, it's a very, very, very entertaining movie. It's very engrossing. You can usually tell how effective a horror film is by the size of the welts on your arm left by your girlfriend when the movie's over. Pretty big. I had a couple of paw prints on me. They lasted at least a day, so very effective there. So all in all, this is actually really, really good. I was just shocked by how much I enjoyed it. And it really just stands up. It's a great horror film. It's a great comedy film. Very, very well made. It's unique. There's some stuff in here that I don't think I've actually seen in a horror film before, and it's just got an absolutely outstanding finish. This is just a really, really, really great mainstream genre film. You don't get many of those nowadays. And fall's here, the Raiders are here, and they're playing, and they're sucking, and you can get pumpkin spice lattes, and they're overpriced, and all these horror-themed cereals are out. It's a great time to go to the Cineplex. Grab your girl, grab your guy, grab whatever you got. Go see the Visitor. Or not The Visitor, that's a different movie. Go see The Visit. It's great. You're going to enjoy it. It's a fun little movie, and hopefully this is a sign of good things to come from M. Night. Maybe he's finally got over the hill, and he started making decent flicks again. So anyway, thought it was great. Go see it. Check it out. Great movie.